Welcome to True Sovereignty, where we are mastering our minds so we can reclaim our peace. If you clicked on this video and you resonated with the title, I truly believe there's a message in here for you today. I did want to do a quick disclaimer. I put my email down below for people to reach out and maybe get some free advice. It's for the purpose of if you watch one of my videos and it just doesn't fully resonate and you'd like some advice on a little bit more personalized. I'm not a therapist, I'm not a professional, and I'm not getting paid to do that. So just know that I don't have a lot of time. So if I miss your message, if I'm not reaching out as quickly as you'd like me to, you gotta realize you have to have patience with me. And please don't take that personally. And some advice that I would dole out, and that I constantly dole out, is don't take anything personally from anyone, especially not me. Doesn't mean I don't like you, it doesn't mean I don't appreciate you as a viewer, but I am on my own completely. I do everything on my own out here. Nowhere near family. I have to do everything by myself, so I don't have a lot of time. I'm very busy, and if I were not quite as motivated to make these videos, I probably wouldn't, because I probably wouldn't have time to. But let's get into the topic of the video. So the topic of the video is the lessons I learned being single for the first time in 10 years. For those of you that don't know, I was a serial monogamist for about 10 years. And what that means is I would jump from relationship to relationship over the course of 10 years without any space in between, no processing, no nothing. And if I didn't jump into a relationship right away, I definitely jumped into dating right away. I was in about 6 relationships over the course of 10 years, and that's a lot for that amount of time. To me, it was normal. I didn't really think anything of it. It wasn't a malicious thing. I wasn't a player. I wasn't a cheater. I was just very afraid to be alone. So it took about an entire year for me to finally become comfortable being single. In order to be single, I had to be incredibly uncomfortable. I had to pretty much force myself to just be alone and kind of tell myself that it was an experiment. Like, let's just experiment, let's just see what happens from being single. I would very highly encourage you to be single for at least a year between relationships. Just give it a try, because, 6 months in, I'm like, oh my God, it's been 6 months and I'm still horrifically unhappy, or more so like just very uncomfortable with all this and I don't know if I can do it. Once you get over that hump, it's all downhill from there. It's easy, it's smooth. Not downhill in a bad way. Like downhill as in like you're just rolling, you're free flowing. You can create a life, an insane life for yourself, a really amazing, wonderful life for yourself when you're on your own. And then a person can come in and add to that. What I've noticed is incredible clarity, and it's really opened my mind. I mean, partially how I started creating these videos was because I'm single. It's because I have nothing else to occupy my mind. I'm not thinking about somebody else. I'm not giving energy to somebody else. So I have more space to create, and that's not to say that if someone came into my life, I would stop making these videos. Absolutely not. They've now become a staple of my life to create for this YouTube channel. But getting started was the hardest part. So yeah, it's really just opened me up to a whole new world. Being in constant relationships for for 10 years, you kind of lose yourself. You forget who you are. And you become who you're dating as opposed to becoming who you truly are. So I kind of had to rediscover myself. But let's get into the nitty-gritty of what I really learned being single. I learned what true love was, which is strange to think about. You would think like you learn what true love is when you finally find true love, but the truth is I didn't learn what true love was until I had the silence and the absence of someone who I thought I was in love with. And I was never in love with anybody, ever. I have dated, gone on 50, 60 dates in my whole life. I have had 6 relationships, like I said, and I still to this day do not believe I was ever in love. And the reason is because I was wounded, and I was also dating wounded people. So when I took the time to be single and heal is when I truly discovered what true love is. And it didn't come from a video, it didn't come from a book. It actually came from my intuition, deep down inside, what true love is, at least to me. And what is true love to me? It's nearly unconditional. It should be more unconditional than anything. You know, finding somebody who would go to the ends of the earth for you, you would do the same. Accepting someone for all their flaws and loving them anyway, despite those flaws. But a lot of my ideas of true love came from self-love, which comes from doing your shadow work. And self-love is very similar to true love in that sense. Another thing I learned was that true love is actually incredibly rare, and I think most of us, including myself, could possibly die without ever experiencing it. But that's just the truth. I do think that true love is incredibly rare. I think most people who are married or in a relationship, that is not their true love. That is not who they're going to be with forever. And even if they are, they're not happy. And a lot of that just comes from a lot of lacking of the inner work that needs to be done, or lacking in finding your purpose. Because I think a lot of factors have to kind of align to have true love. Because who we are is what we attract. True love is rare, and so is maturity. But in saying that, I've become very comfortable with the fact that true love may not exist for me. Even though I've done all the inner work, even though I have a YouTube channel about doing inner work, I've become detached to the outcome that love may never find me. And that's okay, because I've also learned what I want in a relationship, what I truly want. A lot of it is what I just mentioned. I would like somebody who has done the inner work, someone who mirrors who I am, someone who's been on a similar path of discovering themselves. And I've also learned that I'm not going to settle for less. And because I've accepted that love might not find me in this lifetime, I've also been able to say that I'm never going to settle, that I would rather be single than to settle, you know? And what does settling mean for me? It means I am compromising on something huge. It's an elephant in the room, a really big red flag, or something that they said to me that was just really off. Having to constantly communicate the same need and not getting it. And realizing that what I was asking for was actually pretty basic. I'm happy just being on my own and being single, and I know I will find a way to live and cultivate the life that I want, even if I am alone. The next thing I learned is that life is a culmination of phases, not a journey and a destination. So right now I'm in a phase of solitude. But within that phase of solitude, I go through different phases and different chapters. And wanting to be in control is only going to resist each phase. If you just let go and go with the flow, you'll notice that these phases come and go. You know, some phases could be years, but also some phases could be months. And if you just let go and go with the flow and trust in the universe or whatever you believe, life will be a lot smoother, a lot easier, and a lot more enjoyable. When I was a serial monogamist, I was forcing things. I felt like I had to find a partner, when the reality is, if you sit back and relax, you will no longer be the chaser in your life, but you will be a receiver. You create space in your mind, body, and spirit to receive the things that you want, full of gratitude, full of abundance, and then also realizing that your inner world happens first. So the things that you input in your inner world are going to take time to show up in your outer world. So be patient. But things will start to slowly transition. You see how the leaves are changing? They don't just die and turn brown and fall off. They go from green to orange to yellow to brown, and then they fall off. The trees don't force the leaves to fall off. It just kind of happens. I have learned to deal with adversity way better. I've become way more resilient. I've gained way more grit. When you do that, you notice that life is just so much easier. It's so much more flowy. And you realize a lot of your problems come from your mind as opposed to what's actually happening in reality. You become a lot more desensitized to adversity and to difficult things. And you find that difficult things are a lot easier to do, even if you don't want to do them. In life, we are always going to have difficult moments. We are always going to have adversity. We're always going to have curveballs thrown at us. But through being single, I have been able to take difficult moments and alchemize how I feel about them and make it into something productive. So life isn't happening to me. I'm actually co-creating with life. You know, you are on a journey and maybe watching my videos to help you on your journey, but I'm on my own journey. You know, I'm not making these videos because I've succeeded and found all the answers and everything's good now. So I'm learning new things constantly and constantly being tested. And I've just grown so much. I've become so proud of who I am, and I'm able to trust myself that I can handle anything that comes my way. Can't be afraid to ask for help, but I would say the majority of the time you should be able to figure out your shit on your own. I know when I was a lot younger, you know, I would cry at the drop of a pin, you know, like the smallest little piece of adversity would send me into a tailspin. Like I just wouldn't know what to do. I'd just break down or freeze. I would become like so dysregulated. Now I'm able to like continue to stay who I am while moving through hard things. I've been able to do my shadow work. And shadow work is kind of something that you can complete and say, yeah, I did it. Not giving a fuck what others think about you, not taking anything personally. You know who you are to the point where nobody can tell you anything you haven't already told yourself and accepted about yourself. So you're kind of just in this like, I don't give a fuck type of attitude. I don't need anyone to validate me. A lot of the reasons we date and go on dates and even just enter a dating app is to gain validation. Oh, am I still good looking? Am I still likable? Do I still got it, you know? Being single for a year has made me really not give a flying fuck, like I just said. It's like I don't need anyone to tell me I'm beautiful. It's nice to hear it sometimes, don't get me wrong. Everybody loves to hear that. Also, a lot of people don't like to be single because they feel like there's something wrong with them if they're single. I no longer question if there's something wrong with me because I'm single, because I actually like it, because I like myself. When or if somebody comes into my life, I'm not gonna need them to constantly validate me. I don't need someone else to tell me that I exist and that I'm valuable. I can say that to myself. And you know, that's very, very freeing, because until you can do that, you are constantly at the whim of how others are perceiving you. I don't lose value because I made a mistake. I don't lose value because I lost a job. I don't lose value because I don't look perfect today. I don't lose value because I gained 5 pounds. You're inherently valuable no matter what, and as long as you're doing your best. That's all that matters. I've learned that I wasn't truly living. I wasn't truly experiencing life. I wasn't allowing myself to feel negative feelings. I was constantly running away from that. I wasn't allowing myself to make friends and step outside my comfort zone and do things I'm afraid to do, because I was constantly thinking about my romantic partner. I was constantly doing what they wanted to do. I was constantly compromising what I wanted to do with what they wanted to do. In that, I wasn't truly living for me. My young adult years were tainted by constantly being with other people. And when you're constantly with other people, you never really get to know yourself. So I finally started living, doing what I want to do for once, without somebody else putting me down about it. You know, when you're unhealed, you pick unhealed partners, and there can be jealousy involved. If you want to do something that's really grand and you have this grand idea in your head and they feel inadequate, they might put you down for it. So when you're with unhealed partners, a lot of the times they can water you down or hold you back. I have created my life and created a foundation, a solid foundation, and I've been able to create my life as I want it, not as either somebody else, how somebody else wants it, or a compromised, watered down version of a life that I would want. This life is totally mine, and it's totally how I would want it to be. And I'll close it out here with, I discovered my purpose. This is my purpose. This might not be my only purpose. This might not be the end-all be-all, you know. I'm gonna branch off into TikTok, Instagram, social media. I might write a book or create courses or sell merchandise. Maybe I'll do talks or become a coach. There's so many things that I could do. There's so many places that this could take me. But I definitely wanna, volunteer and help people more. I wanna help people more. And I think that that is my purpose. Maybe to wake people up, help people through their troubles. If I make a lot of money through this, give to charity. Like, those are my ultimate goals. Through the silence of being single, through the torture that silence is, I've been able to become more resilient to it. And I'm okay with being bored, and I'm okay with rest, and I'm okay with doing nothing, and I'm okay with not being productive sometimes. But I've also been able to see clearly my purpose and my path. Now I truly believe that I can manifest my dream life, which a year ago I would have never guessed how I could possibly even start. Being single has really opened my eyes. But if you are single, or you're newly single, or you hate being single, just know that this is what I have discovered being single, because I've let it happen. I've let myself be single. I've gotten off the dating apps. I don't talk to anybody romantically. I don't constantly fantasize about it, or hope for it, or look for it, or chase it. I'm just living, I'm just experiencing, and I'm just gonna let it come to me. Everybody should have a isolation phase where they go into isolation, they rebuild their life, they discover who they are. It's the time to cultivate the life that you want. And that's pretty much the point of this, is like when you're single and you're alone and you can just think finally and you have that silence, it's actually an opportunity. You almost certainly will never again choose the wrong partner or put up with bullshit from another person, romantic, platonic, or otherwise. And I think that is so important. So if you like this type of content, feel free to like, comment, share, subscribe. If you're single, let me know what your journey's been like. Are you struggling? Are you thriving? I love hearing your comments. I love the support. Some of you guys have been so supportive, and it really warms my heart. And until next time, I'll see you in the next video.